Yo, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can make 2000 R&B type beats. I'm going to show you how you can make the melodies, the drums, mixing, arrangement and more. So let's get into it. So for this beat I've gone with 97 BPM and the first sound I went with was the Ilya Efimov acoustic guitar and I came up with this pattern. So all this chord progression is just a 1-5 chord progression in a key of G sharp minor. All I've done is I've just started with a standard G sharp minor triad chord and then strummed it out and played it shorter just after, just for that little stab effect that I wanted. I've brought the velocity down because I didn't want it to be properly heard. I just wanted it to add to the realistic playing of the guitar. And for the second chord, I was just playing with a couple of inversions, and I came up with this inversion of the same chord, pretty much. Just gives it a slightly different sound, makes it a bit different from the first chord. And then before I go into the next 2 bars for the second chord, I've just got some filler notes and chords that I literally just use my ear to fill in. So for this, there wasn't necessarily any idea. I just knew roughly what I wanted it to sound like, and I just used my ear and just picked notes that worked together until I got the vibe that I wanted. And again, the second time round, playing around with inversions again of the same chord just gives it a slightly different sound and vibe. And then leading back into the first chord, again, I just use my ear to fill in these notes and chords to go back into the first chord. Then I clone that guitar, again using the Ilya Efimov acoustic guitar. And this one I just used in the background to complement the first guitar. And this is what the MIDI sounds like. So it sounds a bit random on its own, but it makes sense with the first guitar. Just gives a slightly different rhythm to the main guitar, and it just plays in the quiet bits of the first guitar. This is what they sound like together. The next thing I added was this dark sub bass preset from Xenology, and I laid out this very simple bass pattern, literally just following the root notes of the chords, just adding some filler notes in between. The next thing I added was this alpha split lead, again from Xenology. I just wanted in the background, ear candy kind of sound, just to add another layer to the melody. Then next up, I added some Marcato strings, again from Xenology, just again following the chords and adding some notes in between, just to make the melody a bit thicker. And the last thing I added was this electric organ called Soft Body, again from Xenology. This is pretty much playing the identical chords and MIDI that the strings have got, but it's just an extra layer just to make the melody sound full. So then what I did is I exported the melody into an audio file, and I pitched it up 125 cents, which usually, well, every 100 cent is a half step. But I wanted to play around with a slightly different sound and slightly different key that's not necessarily normal. So I've gone with 125 cents, just gives it a slightly different sound. And this is what the new melody sounds like pitched up. And then the next thing I did was I started on the drums. I first started with this simple clap pattern. I then added a kick pattern. I added these 2 shakers to add to the bounce of the drums. And then I added a perk and an open hat on every other clap, just to, again, give a bit of variation to the drums. And that's it for the beat. I then arranged it into some verse and hooks. So I've got a 16-bar verse, an 8-bar hook, and I've just played around with a couple of different effects and sounds that I've added into the verses to give a bit of variation, so it's not the same thing over and over again. So in the first 8 bars, I've got some scratch effects playing here, and then some bouncy perk effects in the second 4 bars. And then the second 8 bars gets a bit busier. I've just got some vocal effects playing, a chime, some more bounce effects just to add more to the bounce, and some more risers going into the hooks. But yeah, that's it for the beat. We'll take a listen from the start and see what you think. So we're starting with a very short 4-bar intro.
PKS.
Got a riser going straight into it. Haven't got the perks and the second shaker playing just to keep it a bit more tame at the start. Got some of the bounce perks playing though. Got the second 4 bars gets a bit busier. Adding in that second shaker. Playing around with different kick patterns as well, just to keep it interesting. Going into the hook, we've got everything playing. So simple but effective. Going back to the verse. So yeah, if you learned something, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next week.